meeting. Because it really puts when board members don't know what's coming and they don't have time to read it, an hour to discuss, read, and respond is just not enough time. So we've got to figure that out.
Member Higgins?
Yeah, two issues. One is the governance committee playing a role in establishing what the criteria is that if we have an appeal to us, what are we evaluating at what standard? Because we're all over the board and probably individual board members as to what that represents. And the administration needs that information up front to be fair to them. Because if we have an appeal coming, we're not looking at things different than what they anticipate. And I think that would be not working effectively together. From my standpoint, and I provided something earlier to you, Andy, but the basis of this is that essentially from the human resources standpoint, it's a fair investigation, reasonable conclusion criteria, but we're looking for something that is reasonable actions and not just basic to legal. Legal, you can get away with anything you want for the most part. And be totally exempt. But if the board feels as though something wasn't communicated expectations, if they felt like there wasn't a review with the employee, it wasn't a fair investigation, there were inconsistencies and all that, that's a fair basis to be able to at least question it. Something we would hope the administration would have done anyway, okay, before it goes forward. But since we have processes that don't involve the administration as much as it does charter schools, that may be an issue. But I think establishing that standard so that people know up front what we're going to be looking at and what the basis of it would be beneficial for the administration, be beneficial for even for charter schools to know. But so that then when the board meets, we don't have to get into a discussion after the fact, how are we going to evaluate it. I think that's a mistake to do it that way. And so I provided some language in there. I don't know what you did. Andy, you remember getting that? We talked about that. And they give the administration a chance while we talked it through to get feedback from them. But I do think we need to move that forward at some point because I think that's an important obligation of ours to be. I prefer not to do these grievances. Okay, because they conflict with the municipal, charter for us to even be involved. Anything below an executive level, the mayor system standard says if you're an elected official, you don't get involved below the executive level. Well, we're having to be forced to do that, which is unfortunate, I think. But we got to comply with state law, so we have to do what we have to do. The mayor system standard is real clear in the municipal charter, and that refers to the federal standards where it says that these elected officials shouldn't be involved in employment decisions at all below the executive. And executive is defined as policy making and public advocacy. Yep, those two roles have to be met. And this is violating that. But when they bring us the personnel action report, we have to approve it. It violates that too, because we're approving low-level positions. If we have to do it, let's make sure that we have a basis to go forward.
And I don't think we've ever had anything actually in the language to be an amendment or a change to board policy. But
I'll tell you, I'll pull it up and resend it to the administration and to the board, into the governance committee again.
Yeah.
The other one has to do with the audit committee that got referred by I've done some language on that too. But the audit committee, what has been done in the past with the audit committee is we've worked directly with the Council of Great City Schools. So we're not going out there paying for high cost consultants or anything else. And they come in and they're looking at best practices, what we're doing. They work with the administration. We don't get involved in the audit at all. But the reason why it sets it up to come to the school board is because if there is findings or issues, it can come directly to us if there's concerns, and it establishes that we're meeting our obligation with the NSBA of being the body's directions and accountability. So we're looking at operations. There can be issues, good example. Whoa. Okay. I like hanging up on that person. Excuse me, that was Bluetooth going off crazy.
I can still hear you, Member Higgins. It's okay. I can hear you.
Was that Dave? No, it wasn't Dave.
Yeah.
Uh, but it is a very low cost, beneficial. We've had looks at food service. We've had looks at purchasing. We've had looks at we haven't done anything in the recent past, but if you go to the website, you see a lot of reports and very well done. The only thing we're paying for is per diem and travel. So you're getting audits done for, $20,000 to $40,000 maybe of top people in other school districts coming in and providing an objective review and issues. There are some issues out there, I think, that really would be supported by taking a look at right now and potentially beneficial to the organization, but we don't have the audit committee that has historically been part of the school board. Back in the 90s, they wanted to do it every 3 years. Every department would rotate. That was nuts. But anyway, that was where they were at. We were in more the issues of particular issues like everyday math. We asked somebody else to come in and look at that and say objectively, is this a problem or not? Rather than the school board getting into the politics of it, we had a third party look at it. The other alternative is to go with the ombudsman, local ombudsman on some issues and all that. And I don't want to get into the school district versus the municipality. I'm sorry, I prefer not to do that. And I like the idea of this with the administration doing it. They've never been at odds, to my knowledge, ever. It's been very professional. Some of our members have served on committees for other school districts. It's a quid pro quo type of relationship. So we talked about that on school board. It got referred to this committee. We had full support at that point with the doing an audit committee. It can be done simply with the president establishing another committee while we do some. That would be her choice, but we can establish it again. Also, we send the language. But I think the sooner we get better, we've looked at curriculum audits. Traditionally, you do a comprehensive traditional every 10 years or something. And I don't know what lifetime we go back to with that. And I'm not proposing that, what the audits should be right now, but some of them really stand out to me. Potential issues and potential savings and just making sure we're getting the best we can and we're keeping it, nice and smooth and safe within that. So.
President Bellamy has.
President Bellamy?
Yes, I just wanted to follow up with a couple of just housekeeping things. If, because I know a couple of items came up and the maker of the items, they were on the agenda for like 2 or 3 meetings, governance meetings, but the persons who put them on the list weren't not available. So we couldn't speak on their behalf and had nothing in front of us to to move forward with whatever the item would have been. So I think according to our bylaws, members should send their requests for information and or their questions to superintendent, the president, and Amanda, the executive assistant. If you don't do that, things will get lost because we don't even know that they exist. So part of it is our own discipline, but I do think that we can probably review and kind of streamline how we are, how we want to make sure prior to a meeting, every board member have access to what is going to be discussed, which would include of course, the administration. And as far as the only thing I disagree with Member Higgins is I don't think we need an audit committee to request an audit. I think we have moved that responsibility over to our finance committee. And I think through that finance committee and through the administration, we should be able to get requests for audits and process them like we process everything else. I don't think we need an audit committee, but that's just my opinion. If the board so decides it wants an audit committee, but I will not be setting up one. But if the board's wish is to have an audit committee, then that will be the board, that will be the will of the board. Thank you.
Other discussion? And what we'll try to have at the next meeting is an actionable amendment to policy that would lay it out so that we've got something specific to discuss.
And if it's permitted, I know a number of former school board members over time that would like to speak to this issue. How strongly they feel, and should that be here or should it be at the full board meeting? I don't know, but they have expressed interest in that opportunity to come forward and to speak and how important it is.
I think we've always let people that showed up speak at the committee meetings, and of course, if they show at the regular meetings, they get to speak there too. Any other comments, questions, suggestions? Any other new business? Hearing no sounds at all. Without objection, I will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
No. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Laura.
Well,
Oh, that's not.
I do have the document.
That's a Doreen.
Yeah, this is one of Doreen's hobbies.